What's going on, guys? Hey, I wanted to come back to you. I wanted to bring you a video about Walt Disney Company. The Walt Disney Company has become super woke as of the last so many years. Like I'm sure most people know. Um, but Michael Gordino, a senior vice president and a team lead, I think it says, for the Walt Disney Company, um, was saying that they hire people based on whether they're of color or female or gay or whatever. They don't want to hire straight white men. And I believe that he says that, we don't want to hire certain people that don't appear black enough. And at some point, they turn down somebody who's half black because he appears too white. And they don't want that. But yeah, I mean, that company has become super woke and super discriminatory. But guys, watch this.
Certainly, there have been times where, there's no way we're hiring a white male person.
Just kind of unspoken.
There are times when it's spoken, but
How would they say it?
there's no way we're hiring a white male person.
According to these videotapes, Disney blatantly discriminates against white men in particular.
I think I'm sort of well prepared for it. I'm well positioned for it. But as far as Disney's concerned, I'm a white male. That's not who they're looking to promote at the moment. I've been at the company 11 years now, so I have friends in HR and I have friends in those divisions, and they're like, look, nobody else is going to tell you this, Mike, but they're not considering any white males for the shop. They're just not. That's not who they want.
They even passed over a qualified half-black person for a promotion because they didn't look black enough.
We wanted to hire somebody in the department a few years ago now who was half black, but didn't appear half black. And there was a creative executive who was like, we're not, that's not what's wrong. They wanted somebody in meetings who would appear a certain way, and he wasn't gonna bring that to the meeting. I mean, it kind of feels like we're, at some point there's going to be a lawsuit. That's kind of how it feels.
I mean, there's no ambiguity there. I mean, they come straight out and say, or at least Michael Gardino, whatever his name is, comes right out and says they don't want white men. They don't. Now, imagine if there were anyone else, anyone. I mean, even white women, but especially white men. I mean, imagine if we were white women or black people, black anyone, or any person of color, but especially black. I mean, can you imagine? Could you imagine? And again, they wouldn't hire this black man, half black man, because he appeared to be white, even though he was half white and half black. He appeared too white. So again, they're admitting what they're doing is they're going after a certain image. They're going after a certain look. They don't care about, really what actually works. They're concerned with how black you are. They're concerned with how gay you are. And I'm not saying anything to be mean, but I mean, it's like if there is a white man, I mean, he's going to be gay as hell. And I don't mean that, mean, but he's going to be gay and come across as gay. And that's what I mean is, he's going to be very blatantly homosexual, very blatantly. But he knows what he's doing is wrong. He knows what the company's doing is wrong. If he didn't, why would he say, we're looking at sooner or later, we're going to be sued He knows it's wrong. And he knows what the company is doing is wrong. But they do it anyways. And I'm going to show you guys a clip of a Star Wars actress. I mean, who was basically saying that her goal, or their goal, the Walt Disney Company, was to make white people feel guilty and cry. Watch this.
I'm going viral on Twitter again. Open up the news to find some interesting things. 29 views, interview from 2018 with Trevor the King. When I was a teen, I was running from city to city to speak on the story. You know the one. Police murder and a black boy. Yeah, my people cried in the theaters, find it releasing. White people cried they could see us as human beings. Trevor asked what I want the people to know. I said, white people crying, what's the goal? If they could take one thing, what would it be? I say empathy. Oh, that's why they mad at me. They splice lines, make hate, they recognize, make it look like the same propaganda they spew. Cause they conflate our pain with violence and try to weaponize everything that we do. The desperation of oppressors is rising, and now they holding on to any old thing they can use. If you rely upon misinformation, and that tells me
You got to feel bad for the black and brown. Black and brown. You got to feel bad for them. You know, it doesn't matter if you're barely making it yourself. Your focus should be on bettering the black community, the brown people. You know, women. Your focus should be on everyone else, making everyone else's life better. Because again, you're privileged. Even though you might be making and barely making it. Barely afford a movie ticket to see the movie. And she's rich. But she's going to lecture you about your privilege and about black people being shot and killed in the streets by cops. Give me a damn break if that's not happening. That's not happening, especially to the ones that are obeying the law. I mean, that's a kicker right there. You know, black people, they're less than 13% of the population, yet they commit over half of all violent crime. Yet, they're only involved in, I think, 46% of all police shootings. Yeah. I mean, there is a mismatch there. There is an issue there. There is. And when it comes to violent crime committed by black folks, and again, they go after whatever they want. They have all kinds of programs. DEI, affirmative action, scoring less to get into a college, having less experience or less education to get a certain job. I mean, again, the one of the vice presidents for Disney is saying that we overlook white people. We don't want them. We don't want white men. So again, they're telling you that you're being discriminated against. Yet, you have to feel sorry for the ones that are not being discriminated against. But guys, I'm going to show you an interview that she did with Trevor Noah on the Comedy Network from 2018. Watch this.
A young girl played by yourself who is friends with a young boy who gets shot at a police stop. A story that we're all too familiar with. And that's just really the beginning of the story.
So it's based on this book by Angie Thomas, which is incredible, and I highly suggest that you read it if you haven't. But it's supposed to be a tool of empathy. So oftentimes we see these events portrayed on the news and in media, but usually they're misconstrued or they're at least postulated so that they don't fully humanize the people of color who are killed and affected by these events. And so that's what this is supposed to be a tool to do. It's supposed to ground it in a personal narrative, and hopefully people will have a sense of empathy because of that. And so far, it's been really successful. We have a lot of white people crying after, which is great.
When you were filming the scene that we commonly refer to as the talk,
Yeah.
it's a really interesting scene in the movie where, you know, you have your character's dad talking to the family repeatedly through their lives saying, this is how you conduct yourself around police. This is always going to be a life-altering experience if you handle it the wrong way.
Yeah.
You look at that story and you look at that scenario, there is a pain that comes with what happened. And there are often people who say, well, if you conduct yourself the right way, it won't happen.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's not the truth.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's tragic because we rob Black children of their ability to be children. You know, they have to be so careful about the way in which they act and present themselves from such an early age because they even understand that they are not afforded childhood in the way that, you know, their white counterparts are.
Right. Looking at the film, looking at the response that it's gotten, what would you say your greatest hope and success would have been beyond the white people crying? When people watch The Hate U Give, what do you want them to walk away with? Because I know everyone has a slightly different feeling.
Well, I mean, white people crying actually was the goal. It was the goal.
Well, you know what?
We wanted to make sure that, you know, those who, you know, have been affected by the way in which the media misconstrues these events actually have a real sense of empathy and are able to place themselves into the shoes of our communities and understand that these are not just news events, these are happening to real people.
You know, yeah. Again, you got to have sympathy. You got to have empathy for Black people, for the Black community, for Black and brown folks. You got to feel bad. You got to feel bad. Why? And again, you got to feel bad. Some Black rich actress and rich Trevor Noah is telling you how bad you got to feel. It's not real. It's not real. And again, that's the way to control you. And they're doing it through guilt, through empathy, sympathy that you got to have for whoever. No. That is how they control you. And when it comes to cops pulling people over, I got the talk. And I'm white. If you haven't noticed. I'm white. I got the damn talk. I remember my dad, rest his soul, told me, if you get pulled over, put your hands on the wheel. Don't talk back. You got pulled over for a reason, you dumbass. And that's what he told me. And that's the way it is. The problem is that Black people, when they get pulled over, especially young Black people, young Black men, they have a chip on their shoulder because they believe, and Black women too, that they believe the police are against them. So they have an attitude. And the cops, they think, okay, I pulled them over for running a stop sign or whatever. Maybe he's doing something else. He has an attitude. He's nasty. But again, the issue is the lack of fathers telling their kids to straighten up. And that's what the problem is. And again, Black children are robbed, I think she said, from their childhood because of white supremacy and whatever. No, they're robbed by their parents or lack thereof. Again, that's the reason why Black children, if they fall or they fail in comparison to their white counterparts, it's because of parenting. But again, they want you to feel bad. As a matter of fact, their goal, according to her, their goal was for white people to cry. That was their goal. And they're telling you this while her and Trevor Noah are both laughing. And the audience, they're laughing. Oh, and again, if we can make white people feel bad and cry, I mean, again, even white people are saying, oh, yeah, that's right. Because again, they believe they're bad because of the color of their skin. Do you folks not understand? You're being brainwashed. You're being brainwashed. But guys, if you would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thanks. You son of a.